You know, folks, I'm getting too old for this shit. Hello once again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum, and this is one of the darker episodes of In Your Face. Tomorrow, for those who do not know, some time back I was convicted of a crime I didn't commit. And tomorrow, as part of my probation, I have to stand in front of a judge. Basically, I have a probation officer that has tried to set me up to fail, and in a nutshell, she might get her wish. This probation officer, I'm sure, has had some, how do you say, help along the way in making her decision. This is one of these videos where I'm just going to come out and say, some years back, before this whole mess happened, before any of this happened, I became a whistleblower here in St. Francis County, right here in Missouri. I had come across some information, a guy who owned a local shop over in the middle of Farmington, some very sensitive information dealing with the prosecuting office over in Farmington. I hung on to this information, and basically, after a post-traumatic flip out, for those who do not know, I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Basically, the prosecutor was just wanting to throw the book at me. So I then blew the whistle, and it's like, well, no, you don't get to, to pick on a guy that's, suffering from PTSD. I blew the whistle on the prosecuting office and revealed the whole subject to the alternate media source, the Alex Jones Show. And of course, they kind of looked into it a little bit, and I don't know if anything ever came of it, but, it was one of those things. It was a good tip. And it got him off my back, and, everything was let go. After all that, I was kind of a marked man here in St. Francis County and moved to Washington, Missouri, Franklin County. And things started happening up there, and basically I was willing to blow the whistle again, and that's when things went sideways. And the whistleblowing there would have involved their police department. And that's where it all started. Well, now every time you turn around, Missouri thinks it's cute to, to mess with me. Poor Princess Faye, she gets caught in the middle of all of this. For her, this is very difficult. She doesn't know how to deal with it. And basically tomorrow, I've got a good feeling they're just going to go ahead and lock me up and throw away the key. That's just how it is here in Missouri. They do things like that. During my time that I was kept in county jail, again for the crime I didn't commit up in Franklin County, I will tell you how dirty it really has gotten here in Missouri. And this is one of the reasons why I even suggested to the people who were involved with the right to work movement to get that whole act repealed. One of the things that I suggested to them was, you can split the state, and we're starting to see that happening in California. There's talk of a new California. We could even see that happen here in Missouri now that the people who are in charge of the right to work movement to have that whole act repealed, now that they have that information. That being said, while I was, as I was saying, while I was basically kept in the county jail, obviously against my will. I actually had a sheriff's deputy, more or less. He said to everybody in the, you know, in that pod, as they called it, he said, if you are in here, you are criminals. And I kind of politely held up my hand and said, sir, with all due respect, you are innocent until proven guilty, and that is within our Bill of Rights. And he looked at me, kind of looked down at the floor, and he kind of ushered everyone else to kind of go away. And he says, not anymore. And this is, you know, and it was kind of a sad look on his face because he knew I was right. You'll see stuff like this here in Missouri. Missouri has become a communist state. Communist in the sense that there are dirty things that go on. Again, because I'm fully aware of this, there are going to be people within our system that do not want me to talk about it, and the only way to shut me up is to put me behind walls where I do not have access to the public like this, and to tell the people of Missouri that it is time to fight. Okay, it is time to fight. It is time to stand up. And I was working on a mini movie, but basically starting to expose some of this stuff. Unfortunately, time is not on my side. Again, as I'm making this video, tomorrow I stand in front of a judge. And there's an excellent chance they may try to revoke my probation. Just because they want to. Okay, and again, I live in St. Francis County, Missouri, and I did some whistleblowing here in St. Francis County, so I'm not well liked in a lot of our judicial system in this county. So I was set up to fail. I didn't exactly fail. It's just one of those things. Okay. For the record, when it comes to community service, because they like to bring up community service, when it comes to that, let me tell you all up front, the community service that they like to try to, that my probation officer wanted me to do, it was all manual labor. Basically, she wanted me to basically be a quote-unquote slave here in Missouri. It was all manual labor, obviously. Most of the community service that I have done has not been credited. Like, for example, the Cruising for the Blind, that'll never be credited. Any of the work that I did in that event. The numerous car shows, besides Cruising for the Blind, that Princess Faye and I have done to help raise money. Shoot, I mean, that's just a handful of things. As a matter of fact, right here in Bonne Terre, we had there for a little while, we had a community watch going on, a neighborhood watch going on right here at the apartment complex because there was cars being broke into. We managed to find the people that were doing it, and led to an arrest. I don't know if there was any convictions, but it led to an arrest. Going further beyond that, and let's see, I've helped the police. There was the, not only were the break-ins there was some kids going around vandalizing cars. I helped gather evidence for that. Even though they didn't need it, it was still there, and even took the time out to, Princess Faye and I helped take care of some of the vehicles that were vandalized in our neighborhood. Let's see. Then there was the time that the local smoke shop that their employees were being threatened, and Princess Faye and I had set up camera across the street to basically, if anything went sideways, the police would have had evidence available to them. So the Prince Magnum channel has been involved in the community. There was even a point where the police department was having a difficult time getting police cruisers, and I'd offered to help with fundraising, whatever it took. And currently, right now, I was finally set up with community service that will be credited, um, and at the local library. And one of the things that they're wanting me to do is to actually give a class on light general routine maintenance, basically how to check your oil and things like that. What's supposed to be done for changing automatic transmission fluid, yada yada yada. And basically, this is one of these things that can actually go on for an extended period of time, and that's set up at the local library. And even after my community service would be done, I would probably continue to do it for quite a long time. So as far as that goes, I mean, yeah, the community's getting exactly what they want. But do you think any of this is going to matter in the state of Missouri, where they want to lock a knucklehead up like me, a whistleblower? No, it's not going to matter. They want to shut me up. You all have to understand there's still discrimination here in Missouri. It's discrimination against Native Americans such as myself. It's discrimination against thinkers like myself. One of the things that was working on for YouTube was basically a solution for using petroleum products that goes beyond using hydrogen, the hydrogen fuel cell system, fuel vapor technology. Basically, it was going to blow it all out of the water, and even go further than electric cars could even have. Because believe it or not, for internal combustion, I have a fuel idea that basically would revolutionize the business. Gasoline would be obsolete, and even a design kind of tucked away, I've had it for years, on an electric car that would actually make the Tesla look obsolete. There would be no need for a charging station. It would be a completely self-contained unit that would not need to be charged. It's just that it's not going to happen if they lock me up. But again, there are people who make money off of this, so yes, they, in our government, so yes, they want me locked up, And I'm not some great engineer. I'm not. I'm just a tinkerer, a shade tree mechanic, a hot rodder who thinks outside of the box. You spend enough time around cars and you do these sort of things. You learn things, you pick up things, and you kind of, no engineering. Basically, I'm not a skilled engineer, but it's one of those things that, the best example I can give is take a good long look at Mikhail Kalashnikov. He wasn't a gunsmith, but he was a tinkerer, and look at what his contribution was to the firearms industry in this world, coming up with the AK-47. But I digress. You all have to understand, here in Missouri, even though Missouri is governed by by a federal democracy, in Missouri it is communist. As a matter of fact, I was actually getting ready to blow the whistle on them wanting to legalize marijuana, and why. Maybe if I'm lucky enough to survive this, I might just go ahead and blow the whistle on that. Along with some of the issues that you have with law enforcement in Franklin County, more in particular Washington, Missouri. The Midwest is a good place for these awful things to happen, and we're seeing it more and more. We're going to possibly see it with me tomorrow, because anyone of intellect they do not want in popular society. That's just the way it is. And if you take a good long look at Nazi Germany and communist Russia, that's exactly what they did. They took their intellects, they either locked them up and made them disappear, or they just plain made them disappear. And that's what we're probably going to see tomorrow. That's just kind of how it is. So am I afraid? Of course I am. I know Princess Faye and I have been talking at great length what she's supposed to do when this is all said and done with. If I'm lucky enough to survive this, I will never be the same man afterwards. This is why about a year ago I declared myself a political prisoner of the state of Missouri. I still am. I'm a political prisoner, not allowed to leave my own state, a state that has become a communist state. It's just the way it is. We're given the right to vote, so we think we have say so in our fair state, but we don't. It's just the way it is. This state was bought and paid for a long time ago, and it's been that way since after the Reagan administration. But you'll have to look deeper into that. All of you will have to look deeper into that. But I leave you, I know normally I tell all of you certain things and things like that. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, you know, if you're a member of the Maverick Nation, and you want to protest, you know, me being in front of a judge, you know, the best thing to do is call the Franklin County courthouse and tell them exactly how you feel. You know, it'll be 9 o'clock Central when I stand in front of that judge. So your best bet is to call then and start raising complaints. You know, and that sort of thing. The other thing that I'm going to tell you is, regardless of what happens, keep your mind free and resist. That's what I'm going to do the best I can there. I'm going to basically keep my mind free and continue to resist against oppression like this. My country was once free, but it's not free anymore. And even though we're starting to see things change on a federal level, remember, dirty stuff can still happen. You know, those nasty little things that slip through the cracks, and we're seeing that still today. When the dirty politicians can't get away with it at the federal level, they run back to their states. And again, we're seeing that more and more. Am I a little bitter about this? Probably. But, you know, I've continued to stay sober through this mess, and, you know, Princess Faye and I, again, have talked at great length what she's supposed to do after this. Basically, as I end this video, I'll be making that video in case something did go wrong. Basically what you, the members of the Maverick Nation, are supposed to do. Kind of as a way to fight back, because I can guarantee you guys can try to fight for me, but you know, someone like me, they'll turn up missing. So I won't say it's a lost cause, but I'll say that it's going to be a tough uphill fight. That brings us to a spot where, you know, again, I know I normally say certain things at the end of a video that you all have come to love and respect. Basically, I'm going to end it a little bit different. Fight for what you believe is right. Every person in the world should be free, and there shouldn't be any discrimination. There shouldn't be any form of slavery like we see happening here in Missouri. People have the right to live the life that they choose. And unfortunately, my life has taken a lot of unusual twists and turns along the way. But that's just the way it is. So, all right. I guess the best way I know how to say it is thank you all for all the love and support that you've given me over these years here on YouTube. It's not been an easy road, but hopefully tomorrow I'll be addressing you all, saying maybe I dodged another bullet. Or maybe tomorrow you might be seeing the video that says I wasn't so lucky. So, again, thank you all so much for supporting me, Prince Magnum, here on the Prince Magnum channel. Thank you very much.